A couple of months ago, my friends and I went down to the Requiem Cafe in Anaheim because they were promoting this game. They've actually done a couple of Persona 5 collaborations before, so I just thought I'd share some pictures. They even had Persona 5 Tactica themed drinks. They were playing the Persona 5 soundtrack. They were even showing the Persona 5 animation on their TV. It was a good vibe to be sure. And now we have a brand new Persona 5 game, the first one I'm reviewing like right after it came out, since I really didn't get into Persona 5 until about a year ago. So yeah, now of course I had to get this new game, and I got it for my Nintendo Switch, so that's how I played it. Just thought I'd let you know. Alright, let's do it. Persona 5 Tactica. So Persona 5 Tactica is another sequel-ish, spin-off-ish game to Persona 5. If you remember, I reviewed the Royal Edition, because that's the one I started with, and then I played and reviewed Strikers. Didn't think it was nearly as good as the OG Persona 5, but still fun in its own way. And no, I'm not planning on playing that weird dancing game. Whose idea was that? For real. So in Persona 5 Tactica, I'm guessing it takes place like right after Persona 5, but before Strikers. The Phantom Thieves of Hearts suddenly find themselves in this world that is like the metaverse. It's probably part of the metaverse. They have no idea how they got there, but these kingdoms, as we later learn they're called, are run by tyrannical rulers, and so as the Phantom Thieves, you gotta take them out. With the help of the leader of the rebel corps, Irina, as well as a man named Toshiro Kasukabe, who's actually just a normal guy who also doesn't know how he ended up here. And together we all go on our quest trying to solve this mystery. And I will say, I ended up liking this game a lot more than Strikers. Still, of course, not as good as the OG Persona 5, but yeah, there's my metric. First thing I'll touch on is the first thing you notice about this game. The animation and the artistic style of the characters, yeah, it's pretty different than what you're used to in Persona 5. The characters look like chibi versions of themselves, and even seeing the trailers for this, I was fine with it because whatever, it's a spin-off. I understand how that might throw some fans off, but if for nothing else, you get used to it pretty quickly. And besides, they're all voiced by the same voice actors that we've known. Xander Movis is still Joker, Matt Mercer's still Yusuke, Max Mittelman's still Ryuji, so they are the same characters. They just look a little different, but they each still have and showcase their unique personalities, so you fall right into it. Thing is though, like Strikers, when it comes to the Phantom Thieves, they don't have their own evolutionary story arc that they go through in this game, because they had that in the original Persona 5. So now, in Tactica, they're the Phantom Thieves, and they're here. The evolutionary character arcs are not for them. Like Strikers, they're for the new characters, and they are fantastic. Ladies first, we have Irina, voiced by Liana Albanese, which is funny, because she's actually been streaming herself playing this game on Twitch. I've been watching her streams, and if I'm gonna flex for a second, in Twitch you can create your own custom emoticons, so I created this one for her because she died laughing when she first saw it in the game. So I was like, that should be an emoticon, hold on, I'll make it, and I sent it to her, and now she uses it. Yeah, that might be a weird flex, but I'm quite proud of it. But getting back to Irina, Irina is a badass character. I mean, at first you're like, okay, so she's just a fighter chick, what's so special about her? But as the story goes on, you do see her more vulnerable side, actually pretty early on in the game, and I don't want to give away any major plot points or anything, no spoilers here, so I'll just say early on in the game, she does take a pretty bad hit. So the game shows that she's not OP, she's just as strong as the other Phantom Thieves. And her character arc, you know, that is, yeah, that's Persona 5 for ya. And also with our other new character, Toshiro Kasukabe, voiced by McLeod Andrews, which is also funny, because at quite a few times I was like, he sounds like Chris Evans. He just does. That's a compliment, by the way.
I've already devised the perfect one. That's right.
Man, he ends up becoming like the central character of the game. I know, again, at first you're like, who is this guy? Why should I even give a shit about him? But as his presence in the story becomes more prominent, you do start empathizing with him. You're like, shit, dude, that's some real stuff right there. Again, trying to be vague. And yeah, by the end of the game, for both these new characters, Irina and Toshiro, I was like, I love you guys. I love you now just as much as I love the other Phantom Thief characters. Because you were given relevant, fleshed out character arcs, like the Phantom Thieves were in the original Persona 5. These games, they just know how to do it. Now, as for the gameplay, like Strikers, it is different from the original Persona 5, but this is also different from Strikers. It is more RPG based than Strikers was. Like OG Persona 5, yeah, it's RPG battle system. Strikers was more hack and slash. Persona 5 Tactica, it plays out, well, first of all, there are no social simulation elements in this game at all. When I first started the game, I was like, alright, so we're starting off right in combat after a few cutscenes. Are we gonna get to, you know, walking around this place and talking to characters? And then that never happened. I was like, okay, so this is just how the game's gonna be. Basically, you start out lounging around in the hideout, that's like home base, and from there you can prep up for the next battle, or initiate a cutscene, which may or may not, depending on the cutscene, lead into the next battle. So from the hideout, it's either cutscenes, prep, or combat. So right, the combat. In Persona 5 Tactica, the combat plays out more or less like a board game. It's like you have your battlefield, you have the characters there, they're like board game pieces like on a chessboard or something, and they can only move so far, and then once you move to your spot, you want to get behind cover. If there's an enemy in range, you can choose to attack them either with your gun or with your persona. So yeah, bringing in that RPG element from OGP5, more than Strikers brought in, I felt. And so you can have 3 characters on the field at a time. So example, you can have Ryuji, Haru, and Makoto on the field. You move and attack with one at a time, and then once you're done with everyone, then the enemies take their turn, and it goes back and forth until the end of the battle. And yeah, I'll admit, learning the system, it took some doing for me. I was like, alright, this is a completely new style of game that I am playing for the first time. But I did get used to it, and eventually I started to master it. I was like, I know how to do this now. Let's play the game and have fun with the battles. Although some of these battles go on for a while, like some of these battlefields get really complex, there are puzzle elements to them. They bring in new mechanics and enemies to hinder you. Like sometimes there'll be a rule like you can't use your persona this turn. And you're like, well damn it, alright, now I gotta wait, I gotta try something else, try a new strategy. This game forces you to think outside the box in quite a few situations. I really like that. You gotta use your brain in this game, that's cool. Yeah, this is a strategy game. That's neat. In fact, I felt more strategy game elements in this game, Tactica, than any of the other Persona 5 games. So props to Persona 5 Tactica for that. Another thing I like was the introduction of a skill tree. Because usually I don't like skill trees in games like this, because they get really complex. I'm like, alright, I don't know what abilities I want, whatever will help me, just that one, sure, random. In this game though, I ended up really liking it, because yeah, it sorts it out really simply, and really I just went for like, make this move stronger. I want stronger moves so I can get done with the battles quicker, to get on with the story. Because the story, oh my god. The story in this game, actually in all the Persona 5 games I've played, Royal, Strikers, Tactica, I compare them to Star Wars The Clone Wars, where at first, like in the beginning, it didn't really grab me. I was playing it because I had it now. But at a point in the story, I perked up and I was like, holy shit, now I'm in. Yeah, that's how it's been with me for all the Persona 5 games I've played. And Tactica is no exception. At a point, you learn something about a couple of the characters and you're like, wow, I did not see that coming and that is awesome. It's the emotional bond that this game creates between you and these fictional characters that don't actually exist. In this case, Irina and Toshiro. Again, I love these characters now. They are legit Persona 5 characters to me. Doesn't matter they look like chibis. Their character arcs and their stories are just so good, so well written, so well animated, so well performed by the voice actors. It just sucks you in. That's what's great about these Persona 5 games, is their writing and their character arcs with the characters. In the OG Persona 5 with the Phantom Thieves, in Strikers with Sophia and Zenkichi, and now in Tactica with Irina and Toshiro. It's just brilliant. And another thing that connects Tactica to Strikers and original Persona 5 is the fact that they all have a great soundtrack. Man, just the Atlas sound team and the singer, Lynn, they know how to make good music. The music in Tactica is amazing. From the song in the opening cinematic in the game when you first start it, to the hideout music, to the battle music is the best in this game. I mean, not better than the original Persona 5's battle music, but it's the best music in this game, that's what I'm trying to say. Although some of the music during the cinematic cutscenes is pretty good too. It's all great stuff. Great piano work in this soundtrack in particular. I love it. So in the end, Persona 5 Tactica is awesome. Again, I think it's a lot better than Strikers in my opinion, but still of course not as good as the original Persona 5. I do find it kind of strange that this game is rated T for teen, whereas the original Persona 5 is rated M for mature. At first when I heard it was, I was like, why would teens buy this sequel game that is a sequel to a game that they're not mature enough to play yet, you know? And then I was like, well then will there be some elements in this game that feel kind of nerfed compared to the original Persona 5? Nope, not really. Aside from the fact that there are no F-bombs in this game, it's just as great of a Persona 5 story as you would come to expect. I can't ask for any more than that. I love the new characters' story arcs. I mean, I love all the characters, because all the voice acting and all the personalities, they all shine through as always. I love the gameplay, the combat, that system is pretty fun. And the story, just the emotional arcs with Irina and Toshiro, it hit me. Yeah, at a point, it was just, duh, oh, now you're gonna be sad, and I was sad. I was like, god damn it. I almost teared up once in this game. So if you're a Persona 5 fan, then yeah, you should absolutely get this game and play it and love it, especially since it's actually $59.99 and not $10 more. So take that into account, because I'm pretty sure we won't be able to say that for much longer. So Persona 5 Tactica, have you played it? What are your thoughts on it? And if you have played it, what do you like better, this or Strikers? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Persona!